Welcome to B-Flow Sessions, the podcast where we help you find your flow on the water and in life. I'm your host, Brad Burden. Join me for conversations with the athletes, adventurers, and paddlers who are all seeking the flow. B-Flow Sessions is proudly sponsored by Pucon Kayak Retreat. Experience world-class whitewater, expert instruction, and the adventure of a lifetime in Pucon, Chile. Save 10% on your trip with the promo code BFLOW10. We are also proudly sponsored by Dagger Kayaks. Team-tested, paddler-proven designs for every river and every paddler. And thanks to our partners, Sawyer Paddles, Stohlquist, and Level 6 for keeping us in the flow. Welcome to the next episode of B-Flow Sessions. And one of the things that I love is interviewing old friends of mine, from the old days of kayaking, but I also love meeting the new young guns who are out there just charging hard. And today we have one of the newest pro team members of Team Dagger, Zane Gardner from the Pacific Northwest, coming to us. Zane, welcome to B-Flow Sessions.
Hey, Brad, thanks for having me on.
Hey man, thanks for coming on B-Flow Sessions. We're so excited to have you. And like I said, it's really important to hear from the old guard, but we got to have the new young guys out there too that are just charging and inventing new stuff and getting new lines dialed in. And from the looks of your Instagram, not just in the PMW but all over the world, you're finding new ways to charge and go big. So congrats on your kayaking career so far and everything that you're going to do in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. It's been a kind of crazy 2 years.
Yeah, well, tell us the whole story here. How did you find your flow in kayaking?
Well, my parents met as kind of raft guides. I think you might have known my dad back at NOC, Zane Gardner. And
okay.
Yeah, and so him and my mom met. They guided they guided for NOC, both on the Nanny and the Akoi.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
And then
awesome.
They moved out here for paddling, and so I got my first boat, I think, for like my 6th birthday present. And it definitely wasn't like a smooth start. It was I was so scared to flip over in flat water. I didn't want to learn. My dad dragged me out all the time. I think they might have pushed me to tears a couple times, like when I didn't want to flip over. And definitely like going through until I was probably 12. I didn't want to paddle, and my dad would make me come and be like, "You're kayaking with me." And it was and then around then I started to really enjoy it. And
awesome.
Like took it really slow up until probably I was like 17. I took it really slow and then kind of went off from there.
But you said the last 2 years have been a lot of fun. What's that been like?
It's been a lot of I feel like I got my fundamentals really dialed in through the start. And then 2 years ago, I started going to school at Bellingham in Washington with a couple other friends I met there. And so having the freedom to like drive around, being really comfortable on the Little White after learning it and getting super comfortable there, building up more fundamentals. I feel like I really have a big toolbox that I'm able to use, especially these last few years. I've been able to use it.
Let's eddy out and take a quick break. Do you need a break from the cold of a North American winter? Then let's head south to the best whitewater on earth at Pucon Kayak Retreat. Email me at bflowkayak@gmail.com to learn more about how you can take the ultimate paddling adventure in the heart of Chile. Now let's peel out and head downstream. Tell us about some of the epic trips and some of the big runs that you've done during that time.
So in Bellingham, we've got kind of central, and there's nothing really close, but there's a lot of driving. So like, I'm trying to think of some of the bigger stuff. I've done some pretty heinous waterfall rallies. I did Sahaley from Bellingham twice in 4 days, I think, which is and I did each one in probably 24 hours. It was like the middle of dead week for school, and I got a text that it was in, and I rallied down, made it there, slept in my car in like a car park, woke up, went a little further, ran it in, I don't know, we did it in 2 hours, and then I went straight back up to Bellingham, so I only missed 1 day of class. And then that weekend, a bunch of other friends wanted to go to a different waterfall called Hamma Hamma, which is way closer. It's in the Olympic Peninsula. We went over there. and then it was like I'll name some names that people might know. Judah Harms, Alec Fletcher, and Jude Franchek, I think. All those boys are awesome. And then Jude just kept hounding. He wanted to be the youngest person to run Sahaley, so he convinced us all
Okay.
to go back down and all the way down to Sahaley again, which is probably, I don't know, 7 hours more probably. And
Jeez. And how old is he?
at the time, he was 16. So he landed below the
Okay.
waterfall and he broke his nose off Hamma Hamma the second time. And he was sitting in the pool and just like, man, I wonder what the kids at school are going to think. And I was like, oh, yeah, because you're in high school. He just goes, dog, I'm a sophomore. Like, damn. But yeah.
Yeah, so Haley's one of the like famous waterfalls that a lot of people run, especially when they're getting into charging like really big high waterfalls. For the people who may not know, but maybe have heard of it, what's the official height?
I don't know. I wouldn't trust me with any height judgments, but I would
Okay,
assume it's somewhere around the 60 to 80 foot range. I know on the sign it
right,
says
yeah,
120, but it's not.
okay, but it's big. Yeah, that I mean that's awesome. Have you gotten to any international experience during that time?
Not recently. I did a Zambia trip, maybe it was during my gap year from school, or I graduated high school early and got to just paddle the whole year. So I went to Zambia for 2 weeks, but that was 2024, and that was really cool. I learned how to kickflip, learned how to do a bunch of other stuff. Would highly recommend.
That's awesome. So, recently you have been put on the pro team at Dagger. Talk to us about that experience and what that means to you.
It's really awesome. I mean, I grew up watching all these kayaking videos and dreaming about doing all of it someday, and I never really anticipated of getting sponsored or anything. And I've never reached out to anyone. I've gotten really lucky. Todd reached out to me and asked me to be on the team.
Mm,
And initially, he saw what I was doing on our local waterfall. And then I was on the ambassador team for a while. And then just this past year, I had a phone call with him and told him my plans for the future. And I got put on pro team, which is really special. I don't know. I'm stoked.
yeah, I mean, as a former pro Dagger paddler myself, and now just a lowly ambassador out there trying to rep the brand as best as I can, I can speak to what that means to finally get that call to get kind of pulled up to the big leagues, right? And it kind of gives you validation that all the hard work and everything that you've been doing is coming to fruition. So congratulations on that, man. That's super awesome.
I think I might have lost you, or maybe my Wi-Fi is bad. I don't know. Oh, trying to reconnect. Sorry, I think I might have lost you.
That's okay. So I was just saying, and we can edit. I'll edit this. Don't worry about it. I was saying, like, as so, a former Dagger paddler, pro Dagger paddler myself, and now, just as an ambassador out here, just repping the brand the best I can. I know what it means, and it gives you validation for all your hard work. And so, just super stoked for you, and excited to have you out there repping the brand. So, congratulations on that.
yeah, thank you. I'm stoked on it.
Yeah, for sure. So, in all those epic adventures you've had in these last couple years, tell us one that sticks out to you. One that you would call like your perfect flow day.
Perfect flow day. I came down, it was this winter, came down during flood season for a week when it got super high, just a weekend rally with my buddy Judah Harms, who also is now on the Dagger Pro team. And we met up with Alec Fletcher and Jude Franchek, and then also Rush Sturges to film, which was really cool.
Nice.
And
That's special.
yeah, and we got, I think, three big drops that were really cool to get. So we came down, we went straight out to Outlet, which has been a dream for a while. The flows have been evading us, and we got to run Outlet. We got tucked into it by Rush, kind of, because we all thought it was too low, and he was like, "No, it's definitely good." And so got to run Outlet, which is, I don't know, maybe 70-ish feet, and the most perfect 70-footer there is. And then got out, rallied straight over to Skate Park Falls, which I've said for a long time I never want to run. And it's just like a horrible looking sliding 50-foot thing. And I don't know, everyone was really hyped for it, so I went last, and it was really fun to run something that I've seen so many videos of, and in one day with outlet. And then we made it out, and this was all like my first trip back. I fractured my tibia just walking down some stairs, and so I was still in a boot,
Oh,
like hiking in and out of these. And this is like my first time back fully in a boat after a while off. And so, yeah, we did all that. And then the next day, outlet was still in, so we got to go back and then run it again with Seth filming. And then at the end of the day, I think we did high water middle white salmon. It was like 8 feet, which I've
mm,
never seen it that high personally, and it was just pure joy. And then the next day we rallied over to Bridal Veil Falls, which is, I didn't end up running it, but it was really cool to support. Jude and Judah both ran it, and they both crushed it. Yeah,
nice. So that like whole like 2 or 3 day
yeah,
stretch there is is your perfect
yep.
flow.
That's perfect flow.
Now, the next question is, anytime we start delving into hard whitewater, there's always a time when things don't go right, and we want to hear about a story maybe that was pretty scary at the time, maybe it was a big crash, but at the end of the day, everybody, all the guys were okay, and it was a fun story to tell around the staff meal line at the end of the night.
Um, I think for this one, I'm not going to name any names, but
Okay,
um,
fair enough.
it was the little white. It was very poor judgment on my part. I had just done my by far my highest lap the day before, and I'd been paddling for I think like so many days straight. My arms were definitely hurting, and it was around
Mm,
4.7, 4.8 on the little white, which I had only consistently done up to like 4.3 before, and it's definitely a
okay.
big jump. And so I got talked into showing someone down for their also highest the day after I did that, just gruesome twosome. And I was sore and beatering my way through the getting busy, the first rapid, and I should not have
Hmm.
been on the water. And I think it was a really poor judgment call. But we got to Boulder Sluice, and he wanted to go first, so I let him go first. I gave him, I don't know, 10 seconds. I came down, and I was very thankful to make it through. I didn't know how that was going to go, and I couldn't see him. And I just started to really panic and look around, and I was about to start charging downstream. And thankfully, I just saw him on River Right. Okay.
Mm.
And he self rescued with his boat. It just flushed him there. But at that flow, I don't, it definitely still scares me. I don't know how feasible a rescue would have been at those flows with the amount of time we
Mm,
spaced
yeah.
between ourselves.
For the Little White is one of it's becoming one of the most famous runs in the U.S. It could be if we do a Mount Rushmore segment of like most famous talked about runs, it would be right up there. But for people who haven't experienced it, kind of talk about, everybody sees Spirit on social media, but that stretch that you're talking about, tell us what the dynamics and the features are like that you're talking about there.
Yeah, so Boulder Sluice is just one kind of big ledge. It's almost this, it's a ski ramp into it. So it ramps up as you're coming in, but it's one where it's pretty tricky at higher flows to stay on the left-hand side. It's this big ledge ski ramp thing, but at the bottom is a rock that splits the channel from right and left, and you can land right in the middle, and that's how you get surfed at those flows because it
Mm,
wants to. It's a weird thing where you come out of this entry rapid, which is a weird steep series of waves, and that entry rapid really wants to push you left, but there's a bend. I don't know if I can show it with my hands, like kind of like that, and you get stuck on the outside, and it forces you to go right if you don't
right.
stay right from the start and then cut left, and that's what happened to him. It just like he was trying, and it just kept in middle.
Mm, yeah. Um, Now let's shift gears to I want to kind of talk about like the mindset here. When I hear you talk, you've got like this just joyful approach, and you probably have this in all aspects of life. But I feel this like total stoke from you about kayaking. So talk about like what kayaking does for you from a mental aspect, and what kind of joy it brings to you when you're on the water and you're out there in that flow.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of have two modes. When stuff gets scary, I get a little more secluded. I get definitely scared, but I can be really excited about ideas that I had before, especially
Mm,
freestyle wise. So I'm a little, I feel like before I try something, I'm definitely less stoked. I'm more scared. But once it goes wrong, it's all, or once it goes right, it's all just so. I mean, it's a great reward to have it go right. And then anything else where it's not scary, I don't. It's just so cool to interact with the currents. I don't know.
yeah, just feeling the flow of the water, the like pressure on your paddle blade
Yeah,
and just your boat. Like, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it, right?
yeah.
Now I want to talk about flow advice. So if you are teaching someone who's new to the sport or just kind of getting started, maybe somebody young like your age, but they didn't have the upbringing that you did and they want to get started in kayaking, what would be your advice on how they go about it?
I would definitely say try and find anyone else who's stoked on it, whether they already know
Mm,
what they're doing or not. It's a pretty big learning curve to go over without someone in person, whether they know what they're doing or not. Um, just
mm-hmm.
to approach alone, it's a huge learning curve. And then I'd say, um, don't get too hung up on your role. Like it's great to have a
Mm,
role when you're going into stuff, but as long as you have a easy enough stretch, I think you're able to keep that stoke way more alive if you get into moving water as soon as you can, even if you're swimming, as long as it's something chill. Um, it
sure.
just keeps that stoke way more than like sitting in a flat water pool trying to learn how to roll.
Right. That's good. That's a good point. Um, now the Pucon Kayak Pro Flow hot tip. How do you decide, Zane Gardner's Pro Flow hot tip, how do you decide if you're going to run or portage a rapid? What goes into that calculus?
It's a lot of cost benefit analysis. So looking at first and foremost, what is the line and what's going to happen if this goes wrong? And then if
Right.
this goes wrong, what is worst case scenario versus can I deal with worst case scenario? A lot of times, I think recently I've been getting into situations where it's a lot of like, I can't deal with worst case scenario. So we need to prevent worst case scenario. And that's a lot
Hmm.
more where you start to get into that very tight thing of do I walk or do I run? And it really just comes down to how confident are you. I like to visualize it a bunch in my head. And if I, one of those visualization times visualize myself not making the move, then I'm probably going to walk and sit that one out.
Does it ever bother you to walk and some of your buddies run it?
Sometimes, but I'll always be back. Like, it's not worth it. Um,
When you walk it, you can save it for another day, right?
exactly. Yeah.
I love the honesty there, though. He's like, "Yep, sometimes." Great. Uh, Downstream, you're young. You just got, one of your first pro sponsorships with Dagger and a lot of kayaking ahead of you. What are your goals and ambitions downstream in kayaking? What do you want to achieve?
I don't want to get burned out. I want to keep having fun. I want to keep learning, especially downriver freestyle brings me the most joy.
Mm,
And then I'm going to school right now for material science and engineering. So I think I'll probably get a job in that and then kind of shift to more. I mean, I'm still a full-time student, so I'm still kayaking part-time, but um, kayaking more part-time while having a job and have it as a hobby. I don't know. I never want to lose the joy that it brings me, and I don't think I'll ever be full-time doing it.
you mentioned downriver freestyle. For some people, they may think that just means like catching a wave or wave wheeling. But what you're talking about is throwing pretty big tricks off of big waterfalls. Am I right?
Yeah, for the yeah.
So downriver freestyle can mean different things for different people. So give us like your top two or three favorite downriver freestyle tricks and what they are and how to do them.
I mean, by far number one is the kickflip. It's where you
Okay.
come off a wave, you pressure off the non-power face of your blade, and you kind of snap around and do a barrel roll. It, I think you can link them in so many places. They're so versatile that
Yeah.
there's a lot of room for creativity. Then number two would be a switch freewheel, just turning around backwards and doing a 180 off of a feature of some kind while slicing the
Yep.
stern in. They're also so versatile, which is really fun. You can do them off so many places.
Now let me let me ask you this. So back in my day, and people who listen to the podcast are probably rolling their eyes now. They're like, how many times could Brad say back in my day? But just my point of reference, right? So like late 90s, early 2000s is when we started to freewheel stuff. And that was in the era of full slice boats. Being that a lot of times if you're running something big, you're in a half slice or a quarter slice like an Indra. Is it just easier to back freewheel to switch freewheel because the stern's a little slicier than the bow?
I it definitely can be. That can be a pretty huge aspect of it, especially on a more sheer drop. It can be a little
Mm-hmm.
harder to like pull that bow up and freewheel. But
Right.
also, back freewheels you can just take higher. They hurt less when you land. Uh,
Okay. Because you're coming around and landing on your bow
yep.
then.
There's a
Makes
lot
sense.
of things I've back freewheeled that I couldn't imagine. I mean, Spirit, I know a lot of people still front freewheel that one, but I don't think that's for me. You're just coming 30 feet down and landing, and like all the momentum's coming right into your hull. Whereas if you back freewheel, you can come around and actually bow down.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Good. Maybe I'll start trying to back freewheel some of my 4 foot drops that I
They're
do.
fun.
I'll have to give it a try. All right. Well, Zane, you and I have never had the privilege of running any rapids. I didn't even make the connection, but I've ran rapids with your dad. But would you like to run some virtual rapids with me now?
Sure.
All right. So this is our rapid fire segment. You're going to give me your Mount Rushmore. I'm going to throw out a topic, and you give me your top 3 to 5 in each
All right.
category. We're gonna start with rivers of the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, rivers. Little White, I think has to be one. The white salmon has to be two, and then I don't. Third is going to be tricky. For a Mount Rushmore, I think maybe the wind. Oh,
Okay.
I might have lost you there again. Oh yeah,
Can you hear me? I'm here. Okay. Yeah.
now I
Okay.
can. Yeah,
Get all right. So give us your Mount Rushmore of PNW rivers again.
it would be number one, the Little White. Number two, the white salmon. Number three, the Wind River. Just because you can run it so high and it's a nice big water. And then for a fourth, I'll throw in the Hood is also great.
Okay. Awesome. Um, Kayakers of all time. This could be however you want to look at it.
I'll look at it from like who I was looking up to when I was growing up. Um,
Okay.
I don't know far enough back to go true founding fathers, but I also don't think it's fair to do like current paddlers right now.
Yeah. Your ranking.
Definitely Evan Garcia.
Love it.
Yep, definitely Evan Garcia. He has to be there. Um, I watched the Grand Inga project so many times that I'm also, um, I think for when I was growing up, Steve Fisher was up
Yep.
there, and then Benny Marr and Rush Sturgis for the whole kind of inventing the downriver freestyle stuff.
Love it. That is a great list right there. Um, States to paddle in the United States. We know your heart's in the PNW here. So, but you got to expand out of there a little bit.
Definitely Washington, and then I've never been to California, but I'd love to go, so I'll put California, and then yeah, Montana seems awesome. I see what everyone's doing over there, and then definitely West Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, got to keep West Virginia on that list. You got to get you out to the. Have you've not done the Golly then, right?
No,
Okay, we got to get you out.
yeah,
All right. So this rapid we're going to run blind. And what that means is you don't know what I'm going to say next. And since you're a new Team Dagger paddler and they're one of our gracious sponsors of the pod, we're going to do Dagger designs.
all right,
Okay. And I'll try to keep them mostly current here. So you got to rank your top 5 Dagger designs 1 through 5 blind. So you don't know what I'm going to say next.
all right.
We're going to start with the rewind.
I think I'm gonna have to put that five. I've never been a fan of the longer half slice designs.
Okay, fair enough. The Nova.
I'll put that 2. I love it.
Okay. Code.
Um, I'll put it at 3. It's fine. It's just not the most fun to paddle in comparison to like the Indra.
You're giving some away here. The Vanguard.
Oh, I forgot the Vanguard was coming. Well, I think I'll have to put it in number 4, but the Vanguard is awesome.
Okay. And the last one, the CFS.
Ah, shouldn't have saved number 1.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. And the last one is the Indra.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
So tell us about the Indra and why you like it so much.
I love it because I love how snappy it is and how like the code's great, but the Indra feels a lot more lively going downstream,
Mm-hmm.
and you can play off that stern a little bit, and then also the edges are way snappier, and it's got a lot of bow rocker. You can really ride it, kind of sit in back seat and let the bow go everywhere. And then
Yep.
also it's still really confidence inspiring. I mean, I've only felt it really feel uncomfortable in some big rapids, maybe once or twice on like some high water little whites or some crazy floodwater Eagle Falls, which is near the Skykomish. And then you can also like play off that stern so well for downriver freestyle. It kick flips amazing. It switch wheels really well. It's just enough to get that stern under on some bigger drops. And then yeah, it still rolls just fine. I know like the Stees can kind of get caught on that back section for rolling. It's not a huge deal, but the Indra doesn't have that issue quite as much.
Awesome. All right, Zane. You ready for final flow?
Yeah.
All right. So I want you to imagine, hopefully this, I mean, you've got many, 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 many years in the kayak ahead of you, but you're an old man and the river god comes down. He says, Zane, you've had a good run, but now you get to be transported back to your prime, which I don't even know if you're in your prime yet. You may still be subprime, but you get to be transported back to your prime. You get to be on any run you want. You get to be in any boat, and you get to pick your crew. Where would it be?
That's a tough one.
Last time ever to kayak.
Last time ever. I think I'll go with the Little White. I almost gave Canada some love. They've got some really good stuff up there, but the Little White at 3.4 feet with if I could get my dad back on there, that would be awesome. But otherwise, the whole crew I'm paddling up with in Bellingham, Judah Harms, Emmett James, Owen Pope, Sawyer Wolf, Pat McGowan, a bunch of other people. And then also the whole crew that taught me how to paddle the Little White, Sean Lonan, Isaac Priestley, and who else? Dan Jersnick, all that crew. The old guys out in the
What boat would you be in?
Dagger Indra, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Zane, it's been just a joy to have you on the show and so stoked for you. I mean, like I said, when we get young paddlers that are charging hard, but also like doing it for all the right reasons and finding so much joy and just stoke and helping other people in the sport like you are, it's really shows us that the sport is in really good hands, and we really appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much, Brad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keep charging, and we look forward to seeing more of what you're putting out there. And hopefully one day, maybe I can get to paddle with you and your dad. He can bring you back southeast, and we can paddle together.
Yeah, we'll see. That would be fun. Yeah.
That would be. All right. Well, Zane, thanks for being on B-Flow Sessions.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of B-Flow Sessions, where we explore how paddlers find their flow on the water and in life. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the show, leave a rating, or share it with a friend. It truly helps us grow the community. And a huge thank you to Pucon Kayak Retreat for sponsoring today's episode. If you're ready for a world-class Chilean whitewater adventure, email me at bflowkayak@gmail.com and I'll help you get dialed in. Until next time, keep finding your flow.